and I always forget to go to this one. What's the next big key? This is the biggest market in the drug market right now, besides Oxycontin. If you guys have any, just leave them at the back door. Biggest thing in drugs. Everybody knows the answer to this. Every comedian has some sort of spin on this. The blue pill. I stopped asking the audience years ago, hey, does anybody take Viagra or because the place gets stone quiet. Stone quiet, because nobody ever wants to say, oh yes, I'm using a marital aid, or I'm... Listen, here's the thing. Like if you're a young guy and you're taking the blue pill, it's only because you want the 4-hour erection. It's the only reason. It's the only reason. Because you want to go to the hospital and ask them if there's any pictures they need to hang. Hey, I'm here. Come on. Come on. I know I got 2 fucking hours left in this thing. Come on. Come on. Where's your lobby? Got a coffee room? Come on. Let me do it. I'm ready. That's the only reason young guys take it. Honest to God. And I'll actually go out there on a limb and I will tell you all this, plain and simple. My heart goes out to people that have strokes or any sort of heart disease or anything like that where they need this, like to kind of help them. But here's what I think the majority of the reason is. Now, first we'll talk about the commercials. Now, they pulled this one off the air, and it was probably because I'd been doing the joke for years. The EDD commercial for the blue pill, and I want to say it was Viagra, and it was a guy and a horse. There was never a woman. Never. There was never. It was the guy in the field with the horse. That's it. For those times when you want to feel like a man and you can't, and blah, 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 blah. And there's the horse, and he's walking him to the thing, and I'm like, I like this a lot. You know, because it was perfect for me, because it's good material. And then they transition it, and they take that whole ad campaign, and they wipe it out. And what do they get to? They get to these super elite rich people that have outside bathtubs. Oh, let's go out to our outside bathtubs and pop our Cialis and I'll rage on your boner. That's not the way to sell me this drug. I want you to go back up to Laughlin, find a trailer, a woman's maxing in about 425, 450. Her husband has one tooth and it's not even a spot where he can chew with it. That's the Viagra ad I want to see. Seriously. Because if you can make that shit work and put those two together, God love you. You should enjoy all the money you have. Seriously. But back to the Viagra thing. This is my thing. They call it EDD, erectile dysfunction and EDD. This is the true name that it should be. And this is more realistic for all guys that are completely healthy. And that's called TTD, which it's the anagram I created for tricking the dick in. Because you girls have no idea what we did with our dicks before we met you.
No?
You have no idea. It was basically years and years of negotiation. I'm telling you, she does not have a mustache. She doesn't have a mustache. It's the lighting. It's the lighting in the room. I'm telling you, it's all it is. I know she's Italian, but they don't all have fucking mustaches. And then you gotta work it out a little bit more. She is not 300 pounds, I'm telling you. She's a solid 170. No, she's like, it's like strong. It's like a swimmer's body. No, trust me, it's bigger than it looks. It's not. Would you just negotiate, please? Like, these are the things that you go through. And then, I'm telling you, she's not dead. Just because she's cold, she's not dead. I try to go for 3 oh in the whole set. So that's a second oh. But don't worry, there's just a little bit more. All right, so what I always like to talk about is of course, working in Philadelphia. And it's a shithole, so it is. It is. I loved growing up here, and then this place turned into a shithole. Like, it's funny how it works. Like, I go to Philadelphia, and all of Philadelphia came here to rob and kill everyone. So, like, there's the balance of power. But the big thing with Philadelphia, like all big American cities, it's always going to be drugs, right? So everybody's going to talk about drugs. And I'm like very pro certain drugs. Like I can back your play. Here's a perfect example, like Colorado, right? Everybody knows that Colorado legalized marijuana, right? We're all up on the news there. Is that really the place where you like want to have surgery?
No.
Where the guy's looking over the body and go, oh, that looks like a fucking pool. Doesn't that look like Dave's pool? That looks like fucking, I can't do this, I can't do it. And you're bleeding out, and he's out in the back room giggling. Like, so, you know, there's that. There's the other thing, this is a perfect example, a little kitchen fire. Your house is on fire, and there's 9 firemen going, I just don't, it doesn't feel like the safest state in the union to me. It just doesn't, like for that man. But like I said, very pro-pot. And when I say pro-pot, I love to tell people this story. Has anyone ever had a pot brownie? Like, yeah, have you ever had the pot brownie? Because that's the big thing with when they say, with people with medical, like, I had a pot brownie by accident. And I was like, no, you knew it was a pot brownie. No, I have a sweet tooth. That's how I got fucked. I have a sweet tooth. So I'm at a party and I'm over there, I'm like, this is great, man. I can just fucking bang down. See, the thing about the pot brownie is you can't eat the whole brownie. But if you don't know it's pot and you eat the whole brownie, you are super duper ooper fucked. So I continue to consume the brownie, and then all of a sudden I get the tap on the shoulder. Cork, did you eat the brownies on the counter? I'm like, oh yeah, they were fantastic. Is that like the double chocolate that Trish makes them, Dunkin' Eyes? No. That's not double chocolate. That's split cut sensimilla. Okay. I'm like, and you know, you always want to be cool. You want to be the cool guy. I'm like, dude, back in college, smoke that shit, dude. I know what's up. You know, I'm fine. Next thing I know, I'm starting to lose feeling in my fingers, all my fingers and my toes, and the panic button goes off in my brain to try and drive home. Because I hadn't drank. That's the beauty part. A guy that should have been pulled over 10,000 times. Alan, don't forget about what we talked about. 10,000 times behind the wheel when I was in the beer business. And here I am after this brownie incident, and I'm going like this. I'm fucking fine. I only got 5 miles to go to my house. 5 miles, which on the speedometer, that's 7 minutes. I'm fucking fine. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is the longest goddamn ride of my ever taken in my life. Why? And I look like this. There's no other fucking people on the road, just cops. There's just fucking cops. It's just fucking cops. There's no one on the road but me and cops. Is the steering wheel melting? I think the steering wheel is melting. The steering wheel is melting and I can't find the goddamn belt. Is there any sort of gum that I could chew right now that would make me feel a little bit better? No, there's not. You gotta get home and remember you're an asshole with a sweet tooth. But now you're a fucking stoner. So I give marijuana a little bit of credit. I mean, I can't give it a lot. It's not in me. It's not in me to get, you know, because drugs and kids and blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell you what, here's a perfect example of a situation. As I told you guys earlier, I have kids. So you have to have that talk with your kids about drugs. So I did. I mean, I had to talk with my kids about drugs. And I can't be the guy that says, well, don't do this. And they say, well, don't tell your kids not to do anything that you never did. And I'm like, all right. So I refined my theory. Gang, is there any chance you could do drugs that aren't so bad that you have to suck dick to get them? And that was what I came up with. And it's perfect, because I figured in my head the worst thing that was going to happen would be pot. Because I don't know anybody who ever blew anybody for pot. Period. And then I started doing the math in my head. Is there anything that I would blow somebody for? And a Chick-fil-A sandwich was the answer. felt really bad for myself that that's how weak I am. But I thought about it, I'm like, that's one goddamn good sandwich. That is a fine sandwich. So that's how I had the conversation with my kids about drugs, and we talk about drugs. So in the city, and there's no way that I can't talk about this because I dealt with it for 21 years. But there is no better time in the world than right now to be racist. And by the way, that doesn't mean you white people. It's the worst time in the world for white people to be racist. But it's the best time for everybody else to be racist. Because you guys have no much idea how much free shit you can be if you use racism to your strengths. And I'll give you a good example. Anybody ever been in the service industry? Ever worked service industry in your life? Bar, restaurant, anything like that, right? Anybody? Okay, perfect. Does anyone know what a scrimp is? A scrimp. Yo, let me get a dozen of those scrimps and a couple Heinekens. That's a scrimp. A scrimp is something that was created in the African American community that's almost like a shrimp, and actually is the shrimp, but it's not. So here's the deal. There's always kind of how it plays out. How about this one? Long Island iced tea. Does everybody know what a Long Island? Yeah, the garbage drink of garbage drinks. It is. Like if you go to order a Long Island iced tea, you pretty much want to have one and then have your underwear jammed up your ass. That's a Long Island iced tea. That's a Long Island iced tea. And I get people that come in the bar go, let me get one of them Long Island iced teas. You better make it strong too. I'm like, I got a better idea. Drive to fucking Long Island, get one there. That's my angle. Go get one there, that's probably much better for you. Because right now, there's a situation that I guess happens in the world and no one wants to kind of address it. This is, and I always used to call this, earlier days in doing stand-up, I would call this tips for the hood. Here's a couple tips for the hood. If you're ever gonna be in a bad neighborhood, here's what you wanna do. A, don't ever compliment a black person on their tattoos. Because you have no idea what they are, and neither do they. Keep looking at them and go, is it Malcolm X or is it a bunny? Is it Malcolm X or is it a bunny? I don't know if you stand one way, it could be Malcolm X or it could be a bunny. You don't want to do that. The second most important factor of how to survive in the hood is don't tell anybody you're white. That's the other thing. If you can not let them know you're white for a long period of time, you'll be in good shape.
That's not yours.
That is mine. It's mine. But she left it here. Fuck her. It's mine now. Mine now. Mine now. Don't worry. We're almost there, I think. Guy, I don't even know. It's been a... Yours? I think I spent it. Enjoy those cooties. Christmas cooties. So anyway, all right, so I digress. I always used to like that term. So now the other thing we're talking about, and then we'll get everybody on their merry way. So now getting older, and it was, like I said, that's a nice thing about an event like this, because you get to see a lot of people that you haven't seen in a long time. And I'm not a fan of getting older, per se, probably to that same drug thing. If you have any sort of an ailment, just watch TV. Turn on the TV any night after the nightly news and Seinfeld's over. They talk about all the drugs. You got a drug for heart medication, you got a drug for headaches, you got a drug for sleep, and then they do that side effects thing in the end. Like seriously, I'm gonna take the headache because I don't want to shit myself and then whistle the national anthem from my ass for the pill that you're gonna subscribe me. I mean, they basically, and they do it so well because they always get the guy they go, and some of the side effects are you will have anal explosions in the middle of the night. You will be attacked by demons and they will rip you to shreds while you die, but you will no longer have athlete's foot. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, is that how you're gonna trade it out? Because it doesn't work for me. You know, and I get it, because my mom and dad are getting older. My mom, geez, I hope the fuck she wasn't here when I said cunt. Anyway, I think she left. Which is good. So, my mom and dad are getting older now, and it's funny, because watching them get older, they always say, like, you watch yourself get older when your parents get older. So, and the things that they do, like, they don't want anything to do with any technology. Nothing. They want nothing to do with technology whatsoever. Like I tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, can you take pictures in your phone? And he's like, phone's not for pictures. Phone's for making phone calls. That's what a phone's for. And I try to explain to him, well, Dad, that's why a lot of people use it. They use it, to take pictures. And then he proceeds to tell me this story. You know what the young kids do with their phones, Gord? Take pictures of the dick, send their pictures of the dick to somebody else. I'm like, no, Pop, I did not know that. But all of a sudden, I came to a little realization that my almost 13-year-old daughter may someday get a fucking dick picture in her phone. Now, I'll admittedly say this. I've never sent a dick picture from my own phone to someone.
From your own phone?
Thank you very much. But on the day that my lovely angel gets a dick picture in her phone, I'm going to tell you all exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to find the young gentleman that took that not so tastefully done photograph of his unit, and I'm going to bring my daughter's phone to his house. And all I can tell you is this, when he talks to his boys the next day, he's gonna be like, man, I had a great night last night. I got my own dick in my mouth. Because that's gonna happen. Just in case. So we go back to the hood, and all the trials and tribulations in the hood. And there's two things that I had to deal with. I had a lot of deli owners, and now up here you guys have Turkey Hill, and what's the other one? Well, Wawas are great. I don't bash a Wawa. What the only thing that Sheets, yeah, Sheets. The only thing that bash about Wawa is their overnight staff all have hunches. That's the only thing. Like the people, and I know this because I've been there late at night. So the Wawa, they're all hunched over. I don't know what the fuck they're doing to that nighttime staff. Now in Philly, it's more delis, it's more spread around, and the 7-Eleven is still alive and well. So, like, there's a handful of things. Like, you're either going to get one or two 7-Elevens, basically, and it's always going to be a rough neighborhood. So it's either Asian, and the Asians I love because you can ask them one simple question, and in order to get to that question, it's going to take you 2 or 3 minutes. So it's like, yeah, I was trying to find, do you guys have any of that carpet stain remover? And she looks down to the husband that's over in the corner and goes, but in the no, now, she looks back and he goes, no. He doesn't even say anything. She just basically recited War and Peace, looking for carpet remover, and he's like, no. I'm like, how come our no is so big? That's what it's one of those things that just always like sort of puzzle me. But I digress. All right, I did want to talk about two things in the news, and I couldn't have left Wilkes-Barre without covering like a couple of political points. So what side of the fence are we all on? Seriously. You could just say Trump, Hillary, Lyndon LaRouche, because he's always on the bill. He's always on the ballot, Lyndon LaRouche. Nobody? Come on, politics is fun. Politics is dirty.
I like Donald Trump.
There you go. So we got a Trumper. We got a Trumper. Come on. Okay, we got a Hillary. Right? But all right, that's fine. We really only, as far as I know, there's only two candidates. Here's the thing, and this is my point. This is my point on politics. Politics always makes somebody run away. Somebody's voting for Big Bird. I think that's a whole different issue. Kim's voting? She's voting for Big Bird? Good for you. Your husband's a lucky man. So here's the whole thing. Like Trump's whole big stance on the wall, wants to talk about the wall, wants to talk about immigration. One simple question. If you're so hardcore on immigration, who the fuck was cleaning your hotels the last 20 years? I mean, it's a simple point. And it's kind of like to the point now where, politically speaking, everybody wants to say their piece. Like, everybody wants to say their piece as far as what their thoughts are on politics. Now, Bruce Springsteen won't play in North Carolina because there's a transgender bathroom issue, right? So now we're getting to the musical portion of the whole thing. Now, how did that go where he cancels these shows in North Carolina? I would have to imagine it went something like this. I don't my Bruce. It's funny. I don't do a lot of musical impersonations, but like it's always like the universal standby as you go to. Like Bruce can just do anything. Like Bruce would call Patty on the way to the grocery store. I gotta pick up eggs. I gotta pick up some milk. Like that's like everything Bruce says is like directional. Like everything that he has. And it's funny, and I always said this years ago, I said, like, if you talk about rap music today, like, just you have to imagine if you can, what if some of those rap lyrics were, like, bouncing around in the 60s, right? And Dylan, like, all of a sudden, like, the song that Dylan wrote was like, everybody knows who Bob Dylan is. I always forget, because sometimes I get a younger audience. But, like, where Dylan would come and go, where's that money, you bitches and hoes? I got you all over different area codes. And you bitches better bring me my money. Like that was if Dylan had, like, if he had rap then, like would that have changed everything? All right, now I'm just being silly. All right, so let's go back to where we were talking about takeout, and this is the funny thing. So, the Indians that run the 7-Elevens in the Philadelphia proper are really something else, and I do believe that they're cloning these guys somewhere in Sweden, because it's always the same thing. There's one tiny little Indian guy that talks his ear off, and then there's one tall fucker, and he doesn't say nothing. He just looks at you. And these guys are in some of the worst, most hardcore neighborhoods in Philadelphia. And they can't kind of remember every customer, but they want to give you that customer feeling. So they identify everybody by what they purchase. So a guy rolls in and he goes, hey, Glaive Dutch. There's my man, Glaive Dutch. You see my man come in, Glaive Dutch? I love him. Glaive Dutch, he's good people. He's very, very good people, Glaive Dutch. Glaive Dutch, I'm very sorry about the Sixers. They're not doing very well. I'm very sorry. It's a rebuilding year, I hear. Rebuilding year. Like that's kind of how the Indian guys kind of handle them, but they can be so easily agitated. Like, and it's always the same thing with 7-Elevens because they still do the racks by the door. Like they never move the racks away from the door of all the magazines, so they always figure that somebody's gonna steal all these magazines and kind of run out the door with them. So as soon as they see the guy sort of monkeying around with their hey, funky monkey, sunky junkie, you open it. This is not the library. You put those down. So I'm in one of these places, and it's probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I guess about 3 o'clock in the morning. And they pipe all the music in, if you're all familiar. So sometimes it's American, sometimes it's the bing, 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 bing. But on this particular, does everybody, y'all remember the Do Run Run? You remember the Do Run Run from back in the day, Sean Cassidy? I hear this 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm drunk as a billy goat. And the only thing is they took the song and then they changed the girl's name. So it went something like this. I met her on a Monday and my heart stood still. The do run run run, the do run run. Somebody told me that her name was Dingalum Bundum Bundum Bundingulum Bundum 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 Dingalum Bundum 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 Dingalum Bundum Bundum Chilum Bundum Gasano Look. The do run run run, the do run run. Guys, I am Cork. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's been my pleasure. And to Katie's point, and thank you, Walter. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, and everybody that I made the wager to that you would laugh twice, I'm sure you laughed at least 1.5 times. So I will pay all those wagers up in the lobby. Thanks, gang.